Hey guys, so today our project is some rims. We're gonna do the rims in clear vision, and the powder color is gonna be Weston Gray from Prismatic Powders. I believe this is these rims are 1973 Camaro Z-28 original rims. So he wants to try to get it close as possible to the color back then, and that was the color that he ended up pulling out. These rims are different than any rims that we have done, and one thing on this channel that we do is teaching channel. So I'm going to show you some of the issues that we are having with this rim. So let's start with this. So one of the first issues is this lip. Okay, how do you powder coat and get it to stick down in there without getting fish eyes or back ionization? Really, there's no way, because if you really think about it and you put your thing this close to it to get down in there, it's going to get around the edges. It's not going to get the whole thing. So we're going to actually hot flock in there. I did let the customer know we're going to have to hot flock in there, and that's going to be pretty much a bitch to even think about doing, because with the rim, you see how there's that space right there. On a normal rim, if the space is out here, we usually hot flock it because it will bubble. Where we are gonna hot flock it, but we can't control how much this side gets or how much this upper lip gets along with that. The second is this. These are rubbing up against it, so it's hitting right there, so it'll leave a dead spot. So what we did is we went and got some of these, strung it through the back, and we're put it up there. So we'll have a dead spot right there, which will be fine because we'll be able to get 99% and it won't really notice from the outside. But that's the only thing we can do with the least amount of dead spot during the powder coating process. What? Oh. So at this point, we have blasted them. We have put our holders on. We've blown them off. We already outgassed them. Usually you don't have to outgas with steel. It's basically your other metals like cast iron and stuff. But we still do it no matter what, just in case it holds some kind of oils. So right now we're going to go through, we're going to spray it with Eastwood. Basically paint prep. We spray it down, then we'll blow it off, and then sometimes we take MAP gas just to confirm that it's the metal is dry. And you can tell when you put the MAP gas to it, the flame to it, it will wick. And if it's wicking, that means the metal's wet, even if it's dry to the touch. So just kind of remember that. Okay, let's get to the cleaning. Okay guys, so we're using this fluidizer with a snap top. As you guys know, when you're using fluidizers, it is a pain in the ass to try to shove this tube straight in to where you're lining up your grooves. On this, all I'm doing is pushing it straight in and done. It makes it a lot easier. Also, we're using a KFX1 system today. I don't like their pump, so we went and purchased this on eBay. It's a Gima knockoff, but it works perfect for this system. It definitely helps control the surging. So, we are doing these rims. Oh, a video later to come will be the comparison between KKHD and the X1. I had a few people tell me their HD system does adjust, and they are correct. When I say that I kind of got ripped off and it does not, when I say it does not do the numbers, what I mean is the setup. So like the KK HD, in order to get a KB, you have to have the system empty. You hold your thing up in the air, then you get your reading, and then you touch the piece against the metal piece, pull the trigger, you get the microamps, then you use it. As you're using it, you absolutely can adjust the knobs, but you do not get numbers. Where the X1 is different. Like if I'm on 35 and I adjust the settings, say go up to 42, when I'm done the thing, I know that 42 is a number, and I know with the rest of the rims, if I have to do it later or the project, I can just go back to 42, where the KKHD system, you can't do that. But I'll explain more in that video. For now, I'll just load this up. We're using Weston Gray from Prismatics. Oh, it looks like it has metallic in it. Remember, any metallic, you have to use, get this up here. 3/4, you always leave a little bit at the top. Just make sure you pretty much do 3/4 when you're filling up a fluidizer, just rule of thumb. Anytime you're using a metallic, you have to use a top coat, no matter what it is. Otherwise, the metallic flakes will oxidize on you. So just remember, when using metallics, you have to do this. So let's get this filled up. Again, with these rims, we're going to start off by hot flocking that lip, and then we'll just do the rest normal. Whenever you're loading, just make sure you tap the top of this. Don't tap your whatever you're loading it with on the plastic, because what you're going to do is start packing your powder, and you want your powder as loose as possible. So we'll do that, and then I'll show you cleaning this lip out. Makes it 100% easier using this. Just go down through, push down, done. Okay, so now that we have everything done, we are going to hot flock. So during hot flock process, I'm going to turn my kV to 0, my microamps to 0, my powder, air I have at 35, running 60 PSI through my system at all times. Air I have at 35, powder I have at 40, with, like I said, microamps and everything. Fluidizer I have at 7. So my fluidizer is right here. It's at 7. Go back to the normal 35 for air, 40. And again, 60 running through my system. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the rims out one at a time, hit the rim, or that ridge inside that we were looking at earlier. And then we're gonna go on the back, we're gonna hit the hard spots on the back, and then we're gonna do a light dusting. That way, when we do the dry coat, because afterwards we'll do the dry coat, because if you try to do the whole thing hot flop, you run into potential chance of having too much in some areas and getting runs. So what we like to do is we'll hit the hard spots, then we'll just dust it to kind of make an even coat, then we'll do it dry, and then when the dry goes on, that will even everything out, and then the clear. So we'll get it out, we'll do that ridge or seam, whatever you want to call it. We'll go to the back, we'll do the hard spots, do a dusting, go to the front. Remember, always do your back first. You're going to get framing when you do powder. So if you do the front and then you do the back, you're going to get framing on the front, and you do not want that. So just kind of rule of thumb, do your back, then do your front. That way you're taking framing out. So let's do this. Okay guys, so we just did that and they're looking good. So it looks like it definitely went up in there well. Hot flocking was definitely the right way to do it. No framing along the front, which is awesome. And no missed spots. It's looking good, no runs. Of course, you have the defect of the rims. You can't control that. Powder doesn't fill. But yeah, it's looking good, and the other rims, same. Turned out good. Just gonna wait till they cool down, and we'll do our dry coats over them and go from there. Okay, so we're cooled down. On any of my projects, even though I have pre-settings, like over here, well, let's go over here. I have pre-settings. I don't always follow them, but it's a good rule of thumb. Hopefully you're not reading those backwards. It shows up backwards on the thing. So my fluidizer normal, it says P2 is my setting. Again, we're using a KFX1. So I want to go to P2. So I must have changed the settings from the last time, because it's showing me 30, 17, 39, and 20. So like I said, I'll always start with a certain setting and then adjust from there. So let me get this set up to the normal setting, and I'll get right back with you guys. Okay, so when you're powdering, a good rule of thumb, knock your KVs all the way down. If you start too high, even if it crackles, it doesn't really matter. If you start too high, you could run into fisheye. So what we do, like I just dropped this down to 20, thinking powder's gonna drop off. Do slow increments until the powder sticks. Actually, at 20 kV and 20 microamps, the powder is sticking. So, but a good, like I said, a good rule of thumb: start low with your kV and work your way up. Don't just start with something kind of on the higher side, run into issues. So all I did is, okay, can you see? Just did it on the outside. Stuff is sticking, so I know. So I'm gonna do the back first. And I might turn it up because I can see I got some spots there that it's just not catching. So overall, the KV is good. I'm just not catching in some of these deep crevices, so I need a little bit more juice. So I will turn my KV up to, say, let's try 30. Come back a little bit. 30 is perfect. 30 is sticking everywhere. Perfect. Okay. The back is done. Let's see if we got framing on the front. I'm not sure if you can see this, but in these holes, I do have framing. So framing is when it's coming from the back to the front, and then it leaves a ridge, like a frame. It's leaving a ridge around all the openings. If you leave it like that, it'll be thicker on those spots. So I can see it. So now I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna clear it all, or hit it all to smooth out the framing. But first, of course, I'm gonna get my ridges. It's hard to see gray on gray, but what's helping me is that I did do the hot flocking, so the hot flocking is smooth, because remember, after it flows out, it's a smooth color and it has a sheen to it. So since I hot flocked it, it all has a sheen to it. So everything is looking good. They are going to have a dead spot, like you guys know, right? Wherever the part comes in to hold it, there's always going to be that dead spot. Unfortunately, we had different options to use, so we have a very small dead spot. Instead of, if we would have kept the hook, it would have been a longer one. So I would say this is freaking good. So we're going to do this. We'll hit the other ones, and then we're going to let them go to flow out. Remember, there was a difference between flow out with the illusion and flow out with this. This, we do a flow out. As soon as it flows out, take it out, let it cool, do the clear. With the illusion, as soon as it flows out, you cook it 2 more minutes, take it out, let it cool, and then clear. So, okay guys, let's finish these up. Okay guys, you saw how high gloss they were last time with the hot flocking. Now you can see the difference. So even though it was gray on gray, it was kind of easier since we did the hot flocking, because all the hot flocking was shiny. And all I had to do was take all the shininess out. So yeah, they're ready to cook and clear coat after. Okay guys, so as you see, it's out, it's flowed out. If some of you guys aren't aware of what a flow out means, if you look back probably a few minutes ago in this video, when it looked dry, the powder looked dry. When the powder goes from dry to shiny, that means the powder has flown out, or some people call it flashing. So right now, we're gonna start with the same settings. If I have any issues, I'll bring it up. But what I like to do with my clear coat to protect myself from fish eyes, I usually turn up the powder a little bit more, go a little farther back. It wastes a little bit of powder, but it seems to protect you more often than not. So we will check and see. I always check on the side. Okay, let's powder up. Okay. Seems to be sticking, so we'll do the back first. Now let me get a little more fluidizer. Okay, we're having, oh yeah, I had a cross breeze come through, so let me see. Fluidizer just turned up. I think that what I need more is powder. See, this is the part where it's nice to have a machine that you can adjust to figure it out. Wondering if there's a leak in the fluidizer, because right now I should be getting a lot more powder than I actually am. I gotta troubleshoot. I'll figure out what's wrong. Let you know what it was. Okay guys, so of course we even show issues on here. So I didn't know if it was in a gun. I took the gun apart. Wasn't nothing there. I went and I got another pump. The pump seems fine. I checked all the air coming out, and weirdly, at the bottom of my fluidizer, where the bottom screws on, apparently it's stripped. So it was leaking air there, so it wasn't building up enough pressure. So I switched out with a different fluidizer, and I'm gonna try it the first. Oh. Okay, we'll show you what, hopefully we can show you better what framing is. So we'll do the clearing here. Staying back some, I'm actually going to turn my KV up a little because I can see it not wanting to stick in those tight spots. I'm also turning my microamps up. I'll probably turn my microamps up to 30, my KV up to 40. To me, with this machine, that's high. It goes up to 80 or 90 or whatever. I usually don't go that high, but if I'm going back this far, beautiful. Now, framing. Okay, if you look around that opening, let me switch this around. You see how there's white around the edge, like a frame, right? Circles too have it coming in. That's what framing is. So that's framing. So once we're done the other side, then we come to the front. I want to do, KV is too high. I just saw a fisheye on this corner right here. If you guys don't know what fisheyes are, here, let me show you again. That is considered a fisheye. Now, if you have that on a front face of something, that's an issue. Here, I'm glad I saw it here so I can turn down my KV. It doesn't look like much, but even when we flow out and cure this, that will show. Most people don't do this section here. I do just for looks, for customers. It's a visual thing. But that since I saw that, now I know I gotta turn my KV way down before I do the face. KV is down. I'm gonna turn it back down to 20. I'm gonna turn that down to 20, my microamps down to 20. That's where I started, and I think that should be fine. Okay. Now I'm seeing I'm having a hard time in my corners. I got to turn my KV up. Let's do it 25. Let's push a little bit more powder so I can keep my distance. If I get close, I'm going to get fisheyes. If I can keep my distance, I'm using a little bit more powder, but I can set powder into those areas. with no fish eyes. So that's done. Front face is done. So it's gonna look no fish eyes and there's no glossy spots. So that is done perfectly. As soon as we hit part metal temp, we will count the timer. So if any of you guys don't understand part metal temp, so we look on your bag, and this one says, it's clear vision, so it probably says 18 minutes. Sorry, 18 minutes at 375. 18 minutes at 375. So that means you put them in the oven, you don't go to flow out. You keep checking your metal. With this, I have the DeWalt. So right now I'm checking and my part is 87 degrees, it's room temperature, okay? So I keep checking until it says 375. As soon as 375 shows up, then I start doing my timer for 18 minutes. As soon as you get the temperature on that and you do the 18 minutes, walk away, you're done. As soon as it comes out, it's done. So very easy as long as you follow directions.